40 million people. That's how many people are struggling with anxiety every single year. Isn't that mind-blowing? I've seen personally firsthand what anxiety can do and how devastating it can be to someone's life. I personally haven't struggled with anxiety myself, but many of my family members have struggled with anxiety, panic attacks, and the overwhelming experience that anxiety gives somebody. And watching your loved ones go through it sucks. And having to go through it yourself sucks even more. So in this video, I want to address the issue, and I want to give you some of my top natural strategies to help you better deal with your anxiety and put you back in the driver's seat of your own life.
Yeah.
Now, before we get going on this video, if you are a high achiever who wants to suck the most they can out of this life and get the most out of their brain performance, their mental performance, and their life, make sure you subscribe to this channel because we're going to be giving you more videos just like this one to help you do just that and create a massive breakthrough in your life. Now, one of the most common pieces of advice that you're going to hear in terms of dealing with anxiety is to avoid any of these circumstances, situations, or things that possibly could trigger your anxiety in the first place. And this helps a lot of people. It helps them get more control of their environment, helps put them a little bit more in the driver's seat. But the problem is we're not getting to the root of the problem. Anxiety actually creates this vicious cycle in the brain that actually creates a deep embedded neurological wiring into the brain. So it allows your brain to more easily start to access that anxiety circuit. And the more you get anxious and the more you start to experience anxiety, the deeper and deep-rooted that anxiety pattern becomes. And so now you get to this point where your anxiety just, all it has to do is get flipped by the switch and your anxiety goes out of control. And so that's the whole method behind trying to avoid the things that trigger anxiety, and that's very, very helpful. But the other piece of the puzzle is we need to create a new wiring system. We need to create what we call a competitive wiring system that competes for that same wiring pattern so that you can help your brain get out of that wiring pattern, that anxiety-ridden pattern, and start to create a new pattern. So a lot of the strategies that we're going to be talking about moving forward help to increase what's called neuroplasticity. They help to increase your brain's ability to change while also calming the central nervous system, calming anxiety, so that not only are you calming your anxiety in the first place, if that is coming about, but also you're helping to engage your brain's capacity to be able to change and create a new pattern in the direction that you want to go. Now, strategy number one is going to be exercise. And we can't talk enough about how beneficial exercise is for your health as well as your mental state. But in particular, I want to talk about two specific types of exercise that you may want to look into as being most beneficial for your brain, your mind, and your anxiety in particular. And the two that I'm going to be referencing here are aerobic training and high-intensity exercise for a very specific reason. Let's talk about aerobic training. There's an interesting study that showed that aerobic training increases your brain's rate of what's called neurogenesis. Neurogenesis, as we've talked about in another video, which you can look up, is your brain's ability to produce new brain cells. And another study showed that people who struggle with chronic anxiety have actually had a reduced rate of neurogenesis. They're not producing as many new brain cells. So aerobic training will help your brain create more resources. It'll create more healthy brain cells, while also at the same time calming the central nervous system, flooding your brain with healthy endorphins that make you feel really good as well. Now, the second option that I want to mention here is high-intensity exercise training. This would be things like Tabatas, interval training, sprints, CrossFit, things like that. What this type of exercise does is it releases more of what's called BDNF. BDNF stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And I've talked about this one often. I love BDNF because what it does is BDNF is a primary influencer of your brain's neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to be able to change and rewire itself. So if you're trying to get out of the vicious cycle of anxiety, your brain needs to be able to increase its capacity to be able to change. And BDNF is going to be a very important factor in being able to do that. So when you combine aerobic training and high-intensity exercise, you are actually getting both of these capacities increased, which is going to help your brain create a new wiring system and giving your brain everything it needs to be able to do that. Strategy number two is meditation. And meditation is probably one of the most promoted strategies to help people deal with anxiety for very good reason. Meditation is a very powerful way to calm the central nervous system and bring everything back into balance. But I really like meditation for another reason, especially when it comes to dealing with anxiety. And if you do suffer with anxiety, you know the vicious cycle of how your brain constantly is focusing on those negative things. It's constantly focusing on the thoughts that are bringing you anxiety. And it's really hard to bring that back out. And what I love about meditation is it's basically a type of filter training for your brain. And what I mean is it helps you increase your focus muscle. And essentially what you're doing when you are sitting there and you're going through your meditation practice is you're training your brain to block out the noise. You're training that brain's filter to block out the distractions and the things you don't want to focus on, and helping your brain to train its focus muscle so it can focus on the things you want to focus on. So especially when you're in that moment, when you are struggling with anxiety, you're getting close to that panic attack and your brain just keeps focusing on the things you don't want to focus on, meditation is really going to help train that focus muscle. Build it up so that you can focus on the things that are positive, the things that are going to bring you away from anxiety, while also at the same time starting to create a new wiring system. Because the more you start to begin to focus on those things that are more positive and be able to train that muscle through meditation, it's going to really help your brain start to create a new wiring pattern. So that way you can begin to focus on the positive things, focus on the things that don't bring you anxiety, and that's really going to help you retrain your brain and start to create that new wiring system that'll take you away from that anxiety, that vicious cycle of anxiety. And strategy number 3, which is a very hot topic right now, is CBD oil. Now, many people don't realize that you actually have an endocannabinoid system within your body, specifically within your central nervous system, that allows CBD oil to act in your nervous system and provide a very calming effect. And many of our patients have noticed how beneficial it has been for them and how powerful it is in terms of dealing with their anxiety. My wife in particular has noticed tremendous benefits using CBD oil, especially during more stressful or strenuous times. And CBD is a very natural product, and we don't have time to go into the full details of how the endocannabinoid system works, how CBD oil works in your central nervous system and for your brain in particular. We'll save that for another video, but it may be helpful to understand how CBD can actually benefit your anxiety as well. And an interesting study showed that CBD oil may actually increase the uptake of serotonin in your brain, which can actually help increase your mood and make you feel lighter, make you feel happier and more fulfilled. So maybe something to look into is finding a good, healthy, all-natural CBD oil that could help you better deal with your anxiety. Now, strategy number 4 is a very common question that I get from a lot of people, which is supplements. What are the best supplements to take in terms of anxiety? And I really have 3 that I highly recommend. They would be valerian root, ashwagandha, and magnesium in particular. Valerian root is a very popular supplement for especially sleep, but also anxiety as well. And valerian root works in a very interesting way. Valerian root contains a compound which actually binds to GABA receptors within your central nervous system and really helps to promote calmness and relaxation. GABA is actually an inhibitory neurotransmitter, so when it's activated or when GABA binds to GABA receptors, it helps calm the central nervous system, helps bring everything back down into balance, and a lot of people use it for anxiety, but also for focus as well, because it really tones everything down and calms the brain and the central nervous system. And then the second one's going to be ashwagandha. And ashwagandha, I love. It's actually an adaptogenic herb, which means it helps your body adapt to stress better. In particular, it's used a lot in Ayurvedic medicine, but when it comes to anxiety, the reason I love ashwagandha so much is it helps your body better regulate and get back into balance those hormones that regulate anxiety. So I love using ashwagandha as a way to help your body better balance and get back to a healthy state of balance, so that your body's not constantly firing off hormones that are stimulating your anxiety. And my last supplement recommendation is magnesium. Magnesium has actually been referred to as nature's Valium because it has a very calming effect on the central nervous system. And it's also very important to so many different metabolic processes in your body. So in order to maintain optimal physical health, but also mental health, you want to make sure you're getting enough magnesium. And unfortunately, far too many people are deficient in magnesium in the first place. So it's a great supplement to begin supplementing with, especially if you are struggling with anxiety. Now, obviously, you can supplement with it. It's very cheap, very affordable. I highly recommend using magnesium threonate. There's a lot of evidence and research that shows that magnesium threonate increases what's called synaptic density. So it helps increase the strength and communication between your two brain cells. But also an interesting way that you can supplement with magnesium is by using Epsom salt baths. Many Epsom salt baths and Epsom salt come with magnesium sulfate, which just gets absorbed through the skin, which is also a very relaxing way to get your magnesium. Now, strategy number 5 is massage. Now, if you're going to go to war in your brain against anxiety, one of your top fighters that you're going to bring to the battle, to the gunfight, is going to be serotonin. Serotonin is your brain's neurotransmitter that regulates happiness and fulfillment and things like that. And so if you want to go to war against anxiety, serotonin is going to be a really powerful way to do that. And massage in particular helps boost your serotonin levels by 28%. But not only that, it helps relieve stress on the body, which can help calm the central nervous system as well. So it's a very powerful strategy. Now, I also recorded another video called Hack Your Happy, which I'll include a link below, which tells you a bunch of other different ways that you can actually increase your levels of serotonin naturally. And the last strategy that I have for you guys is different deep breathing techniques. Now, deep breathing techniques basically become a new access point to help you calm your brain and your central nervous system and really to help calm anxiety. And in particular, I love deep breathing techniques like box breathing. Box breathing is really simple. If you imagine a box like this, basically what you're going to do is you're going to breathe while also timing your breaths. So essentially you're going to do 5 seconds on the inhale, hold at the top for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds, hold at the bottom for 5 seconds. And you can go less, more, whatever feels more comfortable to you, but you want to keep that same rhythm and pattern. And what it does is it forces your brain to concentrate on your breathing and your timing. So that way you're starting to get control over your nervous system. It's been shown to have a very positive and powerful effect on calming your brain and calming your central nervous system. Look, guys, anxiety can be a really serious burden to many people out there. So if you are someone who's struggling with anxiety or you've struggled with it in the past and you found some things that have been really helpful for you, I would really, really appreciate it if you'd comment below and just share what some of those strategies were that helped you a lot, so we can just create an archive of tons of valuable resources for people who do struggle with anxiety. And I'd really appreciate that down below. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you, especially if you're someone that deals with anxiety. If you enjoyed it, please do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, comment below, let me know what you liked about this video, and make sure you click that subscribe button somewhere around here somewhere so you can get access to more videos like this that are going to help you create your breakthroughs in life and help you take control of your brain and your mind.